Today's guest is Luis Berrio, actor known for his work on FBI Most Wanted, The Burden of Nine Lives, Dream Baby Dream, among others. With multiple new projects currently in post production, Luis is steadily building momentum in this industry while carving out his place in film and television. Welcome, Luis.
Thanks, Jeff. Very honored to be here. Been a few years, but happy to be here.
And for full transparency to our listeners and viewers, Lewis and I have studied together. And I've watched him start as a neophyte like I did, and his career is really blossoming. So he's exactly the kind of character that we want on this show to share his story with others and inspire others to say, what's your next act? So, Lewis, we've had people that were actors that became writers or writers that became directors and so on and so forth. You weren't actually in the arts in your previous profession.
No, not at all, Jeff. It's funny because I love the name of this podcast because this is my second act in my life. The first part of my life, I was a New York City narcotics detective for over 24 years here in the city. And it's something I never thought I would come across. I mean, I did undercover work, but at that time I didn't think of, oh, I'm going to be an actor later on in my life. But the idea of taking on this journey and finding a passion at 50 years old when I started doing this, it's kind of blown me away a little bit because some things have come very fast for me. Very fortunate and grateful for these.
Hmm.
The idea of enjoying something brand new on this journey is something else. But I did have a life before this, a life that I'm able to say I enjoyed, and protecting the people of the city, and and at the end of the day, starting something new.
Okay, so it was really quite by accident, right? I mean, were entering retirement or retired, and a friend said, "Hey, you want to participate in something?"
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was we had just come back when I retired, me and my family, my kids, we went to Ecuador to just I wanted to decompress. My wife is from Ecuador and we went over there for over 6 months and we came back and a friend of mine who happened to be a rapper had asked me, "Hey, Lewis, you still have your police gear? I want you to come into the video and just, lock me up and such and such." And I said, "No problem. He's my friend. Why not? I could do this all day if you want." But but I did do that, and something clicked that day, Jeff. It was just something that I had a great time doing it. It was just, I don't know, maybe it was the flow of everything. I just enjoyed it, and I said to myself, "Let's see where this goes." And after that, uh, I went on Thumbtack to find a headshot photographer. Out of the blue, I was like, let me just see. Let's see what happens. I booked a session with the headshot photographer. And I'm a typical New Yorker. She was just blowing me up, like like, oh, you look great, you got a great look. And I'm like, I'm from New York. I'm like, yeah, 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 well, whatever. Just let's take these pictures and we can just keep it going. so so she takes these photos and she's like, listen, I have an agent you could speak to, and this is about early 2020. This is before the pandemic, late 2019, early 2020. So she gives me the number to the agent. I go to the agent, and of course, I still think in my head, this doesn't happen. This is too fast in my mind. This is too fast for this. So I meet him, and he doesn't sign me. He doesn't sign me that first day. He said he gives me a little template. He's like, Lewis, go on backstage, self-submit to things, do whatever you can. You've got the headshots already. Take a commercial class. Take a commercial class just to see if you like this. So I took a commercial class. He also said, buy this book by William Esper. I think it's The Art and the Craft. So I did that. And I saw him about 2 months later. 2 months later, I saw him, and he was kind of surprised of what I've achieved in those 2 months, meaning self-submitting to indie films, to short films, school films, and just doing whatever I could to show what I've done. And he's like, okay, he gives me the contract, and I sit on it. I sit on it, and it's 2 weeks before the pandemic.
Oh boy.
And it's boom, the pandemic hits. Me, I'm so hesitant. I was even hesitant to sign that contract. It's like, this doesn't happen so fast. But I was hesitant to sign the contract. The pandemic hits, but it didn't deter me. I just kept continuing self-submitting, just doing what I needed to do, getting tested for any little thing I did during the pandemic. But that was kind of like the lead off of finding something that I enjoy that I never knew could happen at this stage.
Well, it definitely requires determination because there's a lot of rejection in this industry. And there's a lot of like, you could be great as the other 10 people that are the callbacks, and you don't have the mole on the right side of your face that the director is looking for. So you never know. What's interesting is, I think it might have been when I was in class with you. I did a monologue and I thought it was great. And I went to do it for a self tape. And I was a pig farmer, like a simple guy. And I said to the self tape guy, I want to do this. It got like really good feedback. And he's like, we're not doing it. I'm like, "No, no, it's good." He goes, "No, no, you're never gonna get cast as a pig farmer. You're not the pig farmer type." And a booking agent once told me once, "I could cast you as a pilot all day long." But the reason I bring it up is because, you've got a dynamic look, a specific look, and I've been at one of the premieres of your movie, and you played a tough guy. But I've also seen you in public service announcements where you're like the happy-go-lucky dad. So, how are you finding navigating type versus trying to like not get typed, or are you just saying it is what it is?
Well, you know what? I'm embracing what comes my way. I don't think I've reached a level in my career to kind of push away. I want to do romantic comedy. I want to do a sad, story of a I don't know, a bearded guy crying over my dead caterpillar or something, whatever it is. But but, but I think like as you say, type and branding, I think is kind of like one of those things that really kind of push you forward. And if you embrace it, I don't think I've reached nothing in my career yet to say, "Oh, I'm tired of playing a drug lord, of playing a heavy, a coach, a dad," which I kind of embrace because doing commercials as well, being able to have that kind of that dad vibe, that coach
Mhm.
vibe,
Right,
so that it almost spreads out my type a little bit, But I would not, I would definitely not try to deter. Oh, tell my agents, I only want this, I only want that. I think there's some things I think we all kind of find out within ourselves that, wow, I didn't know I could do that.
right,
I didn't know I could do that role because wow, kind of, and it worked.
right. Well, it doesn't surprise me because I seen you be a caterpillar on the floor, and you were very convincing. So, I haven't spoken to you since this FBI Most Wanted. I mean, congratulations. I mean, that's really an achievement. But tell us about the role. I Googled it, but I ran out of time, so forgive me.
I tell you what, that was my second time on a procedural. My first one was Law and Order,
Hmm.
and I think like since I started my career, I don't know, it would be considered like a bit naive starting off because I don't have anyone in the industry that I knew. In 2022, when I booked Law and Order, I kind of thought like, this is what actors book. Like I didn't see it as big as what I thought I should have seen it really, you know. But being in there, you have your trailer for the first day. You have a scene with the top of the call sheet, and it's like, wow, it's like the little story I'll tell you right now is of course nervous as hell. First day here on set, and they did the blocking and everything with the two with the two tops of show, and they're like, Lewis, take five, they're doing the blocking and whatnot, and we did a little run through of the scene, and I was changing the words in the script, and I excused myself, and I went to a corner, tried to find a quiet corner, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, I really had to tell myself, what are you doing? You got the part, you got the role, you know the lines. Why are you the kind of like changing these words into your own words now? But after I had that talk with myself, I came back. It went smoothly, and then on top of that, one of my childhood heroes is the director of that episode, Carl Weathers. May he rest in peace. But after the shot was done, I had a few words with them, and this guy was wow, man. I was like, "What is your exercise regimen?" The way he carried himself, and I think at that time he was probably over 70, but he was in great shape. But it's one of those things, I guess, when it's, I think to be nervous is fine, but the idea is kind of like just talking yourself through it, and like you said earlier, just kind of like pushing through. Like you get a little bit of that imposter syndrome of like, what am I doing here? Like I've
Right,
tried doing this, I'm auditioning, this is what I want. Why am I subconsciously like doing this? But the idea is some self talk, and you line up again.
Well, it's funny to hear someone who's like, I mean, it's, sorry, but my impression of a narc in the South Bronx running into a dark alley and you're nervous about performing, on a stage set. It's sort of interesting. And your family
Yeah.
really embraced it too, because I've met your wife and she said your kids love it.
You know what's funny too with when I booked the Law and Order, and this was already 2 years into acting, and my wife was like, "Louis," it's one of her favorite shows. She was like, "Louis, if you book Law and Order," and this is before I booked it, she's like, "If you book Law and Order, this is the path you should be on."
Wow.
And it happened. Whether she manifested or whatever it was, I think that too, that was the time that I took it from kind of like a hobby to serious, meaning this is gonna be my business, this is gonna be my career, and I'm gonna do all I can to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and follow it as much as I can.
That's fantastic. When we talk about like, the insecurity on the set, but there's also like, and everyone I've spoken to says, there's this uncertainty and nervousness and, kind of pang of regret when you don't get a role. When you leave an audition, is it like out of your mind or do you linger about it until you hear one way or the other? Or?
I think what probably lingers the most is when you get pinned for something
Hmm.
and you don't hear anything back. I think that's the little stinger that probably hits me the most, but I know people talk about, putting in auditions into the void and you never hear anything. But, I think being a New Yorker is you have such a tough skin.
Right.
I do not take it personally.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, but I do watch those episodes that I auditioned for to see who they picked. And these people look nothing like me, so I can't take it personal. I can't take
Right.
it personal at all. I think everybody's eyeballs are different and how they approach things and how who they want for that role.
Right.
And it's a give and take, and I think, having that letting go mentality of it helps a lot. It helps tremendously.
Right. My friend who's a booking agent said, there are 100 people get called, 90 of them suck. 10 people get called back. If you're one of the 10, that's great. And then if you're not the guy that's got the crooked eyebrow or something, whatever, I mean, just like you said, the eyes look this way, or the director had a cousin that, had the same tick or something, you just never know.
Yeah. What's funny, Jeff, is the idea too is I think when you start like, like, "Oh, man, I didn't get that, I didn't get" it's like you don't want this negative kind of cloud to
Right.
just overcome the work that you're doing because those are wins, and I think I started maybe I was so naive in the beginning, I didn't take those wins, like, I had to embrace them. I was just like, "Alright, let's go to the next one, let's go to the next one." But the
Mm,
idea is just getting that audition is a win.
right.
Getting that call back is a win.
Absolutely.
Each step gets you closer, and I do believe that. I think when you start getting your callbacks and your pins, you're getting closer and getting called in by the same casting director, so you're on their radar, you
Right.
know?
And the casting director gets paid and their career gets more illustrative when they put together the right people. So if they're calling you back, they know that there are roles for you, that
Yeah, yeah.
that the directors are going to respond to you. You've done TV. I've seen you in print ads. I've seen you in film. Have you ever thought about theater? Does that hold any appeal to you or?
It does appeal to me. Last year, I did a short play for the first time, and it was something different. It was something, I guess, it was a little bit slower, and I said to myself, let me just try something that I haven't tried before, and
Mhm.
I did enjoy it. But I do think the path of a theater actor is more challenging
Mhm.
than being a TV and film actor. I could see it more challenging from that viewpoint.
Right.
Like, I do think maybe for my financial status as well, like, the pay for these is kind of, maybe not up to tier, which it should be. It should be up to tier to TV and film,
Right.
but they want the package without kind of, giving out some type of, financial, you know, compensation for the work that's done. That takes many more hours than doing, an audition than or a procedural than doing a 2, 3 week or 4 week, stay on a theater
Right.
thing.
And the exposure is significantly less than, being on a TV show or in a feature. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's different.
I think the TV and film is definitely moves faster, even with the commercial auditions and everything moves faster. And but I did enjoy it. Would I like to do it again? I would. maybe
Right.
later on when you've positioned yourself in a place that you're like, yeah, I could do this now.
Right. I could fill the
Be
auditorium.
a, be a Denzel or
Right.
a Gyllenhaal. Like I'll do Othello now. You
So I notice here in the producer's notes that you said you are developing a personal acting style. Can you describe that a little bit?
know? Well, like I love Stella Adler. Like I went there when you were there as well, and I'm starting to get little things and different techniques from all of these teachings. Really,
Right.
I've done Stella Adler, I've done T. Schreiber. I'm doing something now. I'm doing some scene study with a coach in LA, and I do think like as time goes on, you start really making your own technique. You really do making it your own, and I know maybe I, I I myself in the beginning when I started this, you try to stay with one thing, Meisner, or Stella Adler, Uta Hagen, and you try to be. It's almost like you're faithful. I don't want to step out. I don't want to step out on these techniques, but as time goes on, you start creating your own techniques. You're using your own imagination,
Hmm.
using your own personal life experience, and you start creating these characters that only you can do. Really, like
Great.
that's why I don't even compare myself to any other 55-year-old Latino actor. I can't. I can't. It's just what I bring to the table.
Right.
If they like it, that's great. You know, if they don't like it, I understand as well. And we keep moving forward. It's almost like that tough skin. You gotta keep going.
Right. That's excellent. And that's super healthy. And it's been echoed by a lot of the people who's been on this program that, if you want staying power, you have to approach everything with a healthy attitude. Every actor has a role that pushes you to grow. I love it when my producers get poetic on me. Um, was there a project that you felt like this is a role that really got me outside of my typical, and I really, like what you were just talking about, that I like it showed me another dimension of how I can present as an actor and a performer?
Well, you know what? It's crazy because I've done some feature films that have also not been released. And I think the idea of do I get maybe cast as a bad guy? But I did a film. Well, it is going on over 3 years ago, and it hasn't, I guess, released a platform yet to film. But I think you do have a fun time jumping into a role that's so bad, that's so evil,
Right.
that's so off the cuff that people love it. It's like something like the Joker that people like. This guy is a mess, but I love it.
Right.
And during that film, like after they had a screening for it, people had come to me and they really enjoyed my performance. And it was just something that wow, like you kind of get out of your skin and just like let loose
That's great.
because it's all like, it is pretend. We're all pretending,
Yeah.
but I think the idea of just letting loose with not caring how people see you
Hmm.
is probably gonna get you the best result.
It's so true. Letting go and letting the
Exactly.
character just take over. You're no longer Lewis. I'm no longer Jeff. We are that character.
Yeah, just letting go for these moments of time, which we're not letting it go for an hour, 2 hours. We're letting it go for seconds to minutes.
Right.
Cut.
Right.
Set up for the next one. So it's the idea of like just if you let it go, it's something else. And oh, Jeff, I want to say when you had your screening in Boston, me and my wife bought tickets. Man, we were gonna stay at up by my sister-in-law's house too, and my brother had got ill, and and
Oh,
he was in the ICU for a little bit. But we wanted to go to that screening so bad. 'Cause it was just like I love supporting, the guys that you work with and collaborate with, and it's just like, the support within actors and directors, it's important, especially at the indie level. We don't have the big publicists and everything else, but I so wanted to see that. Is that coming out soon?
well, it's similar to you. I mean, basically, it's done really well in the film festival circuits. The first three festivals we were in, we won Best Picture. So you're talking 20,000 entrants. We won Best Picture three times in a row, Best
Wow,
Director
congrats.
twice, and now I think it's got 18 laurels on the poster. But like you just described, you got to find the buyer to distribute
Yeah.
it. So there's talk that there's forward motion, and my character, I think, as a slimy, possible murdering rich bastard, will still be as relevant when it comes out, whatever. But we'll see. But it was interesting because I'll share with you. Thanks for making some plans, and it was a terrible night. It was really rainy.
Oh, wow.
I invited about 20 people, but that classic, they told two people, they told two people, and I had probably over 100 people that showed up. And there was other films too. But
Yeah.
the people who ran the film festival came up to me during the big reception before the films, and they were like, "We got to know you. You're packing the place. Everybody knows you." So, I don't know. I'll pack it again for a movie I'm not in, but it was a lot of fun. It was in an IMAX theater, so we had great, huge screen, and
Yeah.
I was a classy bastard, bad man.
Oh,
So
that's great. That's
maybe
great. Hey,
sometime soon.
Jeff, how about the first time when you see yourself on a big screen?
Oh my
How
god.
was that feeling?
Well, I'll tell you because I had seen it on an iPhone, and I'm like really being critical. I don't know this. It's just believable. I look stiff,
Yeah.
and people who had seen it are like, no, that was good. It was good. But when I saw it on the big screen, within where your head is 20 feet across, it's totally different. It's
Yeah.
magical. It's
Yeah,
magic.
no, it is. It is.
The film was beautifully filmed. It had a great director and a great cinematographer, director of photography. So, well, like keep your fingers crossed and you move on.
Yeah. I did 2 films last year as well. I mean, I don't know the dates when they're gonna come out, I'll definitely keep you posted.
Oh, I
Um,
follow you on Insta, so I'm always checking in on you. So,
thanks. Thank you.
it's interesting because you brought it up, and I also kind of like to share this too with the listeners. Is people think Hollywood's really cutthroat, and there's a lot of ego involved. But just like you, I found the same camaraderie between other actors, directors, producers, writers that call me back for the small films that I've been in and such. And everybody is pulling for everybody else, and it's not as cutthroat. So
Yeah.
it's not as dangerous, in a lot of ways, as being a detective. I don't think.
No, it's funny that you say that because I've even through Instagram, I've met directors and producers that have reached out, and of course, I support what their projects of what I see. Like I always feel like it has to come from an organic place, Jeff.
Mm,
Like the idea, like if I respond to you or send a message to you, it's coming from organic place. I'm not asking, oh, put me in your film. I'm just saying, wow, that looks like a great
right,
project, and sometimes it comes around and whether it be months or years later, they're like, "Hey, are you available for this?" And it's just like you said, it's almost like the industry isn't as big as you think it is,
right,
especially when you're starting off at this stage. Is maybe it's totally different when you're Tom Cruise
right, right,
and Samuel L. Jackson and Denzel, but it's all kind of big and small at the same time,
right,
uh, especially here in New York. I
right,
mean, I hear different things about LA,
right,
but here in New York, community is important,
right,
and supporting each other
right,
is important. If I could buy some tickets to a short film of someone I know,
right.
I gladly go and check it out.
Yeah, yeah. As I say to Andre all the time, you can't say I support the arts without supporting the arts. You have to actually physically, mentally, economically, spiritually support the arts. And that means supporting your other artists.
Yeah.
Lewis, my producers give me 20 minutes. I always go over because I get to talking, my people get to talking. You win the award for going over the longest of every interview. So I'm gonna wrap it up because they've got a lot of
Yeah.
editing to do. I've really enjoyed seeing you again. I'm gonna keep following you and watch your posts and keep my fingers crossed for the release of the film that's in the can and waiting for a buyer.
Thanks, Jeff.
And let's stay in touch.